This instrument is called the Harpy 260, which is based on the ARP 2600, a total iconic synthesizer that was used by people like the band Weather Report, Wakeman, Stevie Wonder, Rudess, and this is a combination of two sounds. We added a little bit of distortion to one of them because, again, there's some amazing effects inside of Syntronik. So check this out. These next couple of instrument features are some real favorites of mine because they bring me back to when my whole system was a mini Moog and Taurus bass pedals. So in this split that I created with Syntronik, we have the Bully instrument, which is based on the Taurus bass pedals. Feeling. And then I put the Mini Mod instrument above, which is based on the Mini Moog. What's really cool is that you're able to do the portamento based on legato play. So if I want to go, I can do that, but if I want to articulate notes without portamento, as long as they're a little bit detached, it won't do that. So these two together are totally the sound. The Prophet 5 and the Prophet 10 were really iconic instruments. I actually owned a Prophet 5 and I got to work with the Prophet 10 on the listen sessions. This next instrument, the Pro 5, is based on the sounds of those instruments. Some people that used them were like Phil Collins and the Talking Heads and the legendary film score composer John Carpenter. Here's some sounds. This next instrument is the OXA, which was inspired by the Oberheim OBX and the Oberheim OBXA. These were some really, really great instruments. I remember arriving at my recording sessions in a studio out in Phoenix, Arizona for my first rock solo album, Listen, and he had everything in there. And one of my favorite synthesizers to go over to was the OBX. So this totally brings me back. This is also really made popular by Chick Corea and Herbie Hancock. So it's a very classic and iconic synthesizer. This is the Galaxy instrument, and this one is based on the Alesis Andromeda synthesizer. I remember when this one came out, the iconic Alesis Andromeda synthesizer, and it just had a really different kind of look to it, but it's very powerful, had a lot of fans, and it made a great sound. People like BT and Yes, Duran Duran used it. This is one of the sounds I called up, and I was immediately inspired. So let's check it out. The Polymorph is inspired by some of Moog's classic polyphonic instruments, things like the Polymoog and the Moog Rogue. You'll hear it on like some of Peter Gabriel's recordings. The Yamaha CS80 is one of the instruments that people talk about all the time. I have a lot of friends who still to this day say the greatest synthesizer ever was the Yamaha CS80. Well, this next instrument in Syntronik, which is called V80, is based on the CS80, the GX1, and this instrument that I'm holding in my hand. Actually, when my good friend Eric Norlander, the creator of all the samples for Syntronik, was here last, he borrowed this from me, and this is also part of this collection and part of the V80 instrument. So here's what it sounds like. The DCO-X instrument is based on the JX series of instruments by Roland. And in this example, I put two presets together, and it's really got a great sound. So this is the 99 instrument that's based on the Yamaha SY 99. One of the things that made that instrument very famous was that it had the amazing Yamaha FM synthesis, and people like Chick Corea and Vangelis used it. So this is a sound off of the 99 instrument. This instrument is called the Noir, and it's based on the Multi-Moog, the Micro-Moog, and the Moog Prodigy. It's a great sound. This next instrument is called the J8, and it's based on the Jupiter series of instruments by Roland. This instrument was made popular by people like Jan Hammer, Toto, Rush, very widely used instrument. The J60 is an instrument that is based on the Roland J60, and it was made popular by people like Howard Jones and the Eurythmics, and it's got a really, really great sound. I like this patch because it's extremely bouncy. It's great because you can play leads on it as well as bass, and they both. This instrument is the Blau, and this is based on the PPG, which was an absolutely iconic synthesizer. I remember when it came out, we were all pretty much drooling over it because it was so great. And these days it's actually really, really expensive in the store. So it's captured beautifully here in Syntronik. This next instrument is called Sam, and it's based on the Oberheim SEM synth, which was used by people like Jan Hammer and Joe Zawinul. Let's check it out. There was a period of time when the string ensemble was king, and I can vividly remember having my own ARP string ensemble. That was the one that I owned. I had a mini Moog, an ARP string ensemble, and then the Taurus bass pedals, and that was my rig, and I was very proud. Well, Syntronik presents to you an instrument that's based on all these things. This is called the string box instrument. So think about the ARP string ensemble and the Hohner string performer and others as well. And here's the sound. And I split this with the Taurus just to bring me back to my good old days.